Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Woo!
Last weekend, after you probably watched the fight maybe once or twice, what's your scorecard now?
It's the same that I had it before, but I haven't seen the fight, but in retrospect, I said to friends of mine before the fight that I thought the corner would make the difference. I thought the corners would make the difference. I think that in watching some of the videos before the fight, John seemed overwhelmed by the situation, by the whole magnification of a big fight. And I thought Virgil would be the difference in the corner, being not only with Andre for a long time, but being the smart brain that he is, the smart boxing mind that he is. I think John has a little ways to go to catch up to that level. And if I go back and look at the fight, I imagine that will be the difference. Virgil being able to adjust to what needed to be done, and John not being able to adjust like Virgil did.
Coincidentally, that's exactly what Eddie Mustafa Muhammad said. He said that Virgil Hunter was the difference in that fight. Were you surprised that Kovalev would have such an edge in the first half and just lose it in the second half and allow Ward back into the fight?
I was surprised how wore down he got by the 6th or 7th round. His punches were not as sharp, his punches were not on the knuckles, but he was slapping a lot with his shots. But he did what I said he couldn't do, and that's allow Ward to get inside. Once you allow Ward to get inside, he's a master in it, right? You can't. The first 6 rounds, he did exactly what I thought he would do. And then for some reason, I don't know if it was a corner, I don't know if he got tired, I don't know what the reason was, but he allowed Ward to get inside. Once you do that, you're finished.
How does the rematch play out? Who would you lean towards?
I think that Kovalev's got a lot of work to do. I think that Ward, we saw bits and pieces of the Ward that was in the Super 6. He's not quite there yet like he was back then, but this kind of fight is what gets great guys like that there. I know that Virgil's going to go back and look at the tape and look what happened in the first 6. He's not going to let that happen again. So it's Kovalev the one that I think has to do the adjustment and the changes to figure out what went wrong. So it's his people that need to do that, and not so much Virgil.
Now looking at this fight, how would you replace Kovalev with Triple G? How would you see the fight going with the Andre Ward that walked in the ring last Saturday?
I think that Triple G and Ward is a 12-round fight, not a 6-round fight, because that ended up being a 6-round fight for Kovalev. I think it's a 12-round fight that's give and take both ways, but give Ward another fight with Kovalev, and I think he gets back to that Super 6 time, and now it's a real difficult fight for both guys.
What did Golovkin say? I want to know exactly what he said to you once you guys left the arena and you guys talked about the fight, Ward-Kovalev.
He thought it could have been a draw. He thought it could have gone Kovalev 1 point or a draw. And we were discussing with all the people that were around us, but he didn't like the fact that Kovalev allowed Ward to do what Ward does. And if you watch any of his fights, I think I mentioned in one interview the Alan Green fight. He did exactly to Kovalev what he did to Alan Green. You know, you can't let him do that. He's a master at that. That's his game. It may not be fan pleasing. It may not be what the fans want to see, but he wins.
Did Golovkin say anything about possibly wanting to fight him after watching the Kovalev fight?
No, he never talks about fights. He really doesn't care about fights until the fight that's programmed for him next is there. He really doesn't discuss opponents. He just gets in the gym, trains for whomever they got in front of him. So no, none of that was mentioned. He just enjoyed a very good fight. He enjoyed a fight that went back and forth. He enjoyed a fight that could have gone either way. But I will say this, all 3 judges had it the same way, so maybe they saw something that we didn't.
Able.
And that's what I said. Usually it's not a robbery if all 3 judges have it the exact same way, right?
But I'll say it again, I think the corner made the difference. That's why it became 114, 113.
Abel, I must ask you this. Kell Brook comes up from 147 to fight Triple G. I heard of rumors of you moving up to fight Carl Froch at 170. I don't know how true that is. But now the question still remains is, will Triple G substantiate his career, his legacy, by moving up to fighting a 168 guy or potentially a 175-pound guy?
Well, first of all, Kell Brook moved up because he wanted to move, and not because we called out for him. Remember, as you guys recall, we were going to fight Chris Eubank, and that fight never got made, and somehow Eddie Hearn was able to talk to Kell, and Kell
took it right
asked
away.
to move up. Yeah, he took it right away. So it's not that we went after the welterweight. He's the one that moved up. As far as fighting Carl Froch, I've said it in the past. This is about. Well, let me retract a little bit. If you recall the comments before the fight, the Ward fight, Kovalev fight, they were asking if the pay-per-view was going to be able to pay for the $5 million payday that Ward got. Okay, this is about money.
Yeah.
Ward wouldn't have fought if he only got 3 or 2.5. Okay, so this is about money. So when you're talking about Carl Froch and Golovkin puts 80,000 people at Wembley. And it's big money for Golovkin. So if Froch is available, yes, of course they're going to make that fight.
Is he talking about coming back then?
That's what Eddie and Tom were discussing, but that's all talk.
Is it a great matchup though? It really is, isn't it? Froch and Golovkin?
About 3 years ago, Tom asked me who the toughest fights that I thought would be for Golovkin, and I thought that Chavez at the time was doing well. I thought Chavez would be one of them. Nobody at 160 can go 12 rounds with Golovkin, but at 168 I thought Chavez was a tough one. Andre Ward obviously was a tough one, and Carl Froch. Carl Froch, because of his handsy style, I thought would be a difficult fight. So I think it's a good fight. It just Carl's got to stop talking and stop, how can I say, insulting people and sign a contract.
I'm hosting a dinner with him in London. You know me from London.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I'm hosting a dinner with Carl in the Midlands in a week's time. So maybe I should put it to him at the dinner.
Tell him to stop beating around the bush and
stop beating around the bush.
Curtis
and
Stevens.
Get on the phone to you guys and have a fight.
Made a very good comment just not too long ago, a month ago, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was there.
They stopped talking and just stop talking. And but that's the way we're going to see these fights. You can talk all you want, but until they sign a contract and until they come to terms and sign a contract, it's all speculation, and it's all what if.
Have you made any progression in the Golovkin versus Jacobs negotiations?
That's Tom's department, and right now they're talking about March. Hopefully it's Danny, because in my opinion he's the second best middleweight in the world, and if Golovkin does to him what he's been doing to everybody else, then maybe we see another side of Golovkin, because it's going to have to be a different side of Golovkin that fights Danny Jacobs.
Now, if you don't fight Danny Jacobs,
I don't know.
And let me ask you this: I have Triple G beating Canelo. I actually have a standing $1,000 bet that Triple G beats.
I got a dollar bet on that.
Oh, you got a $1 bet. Now, my question is to you is, he needs a legacy fight. If Canelo jumps off the roof and doesn't fight him, Daniel Jacobs obviously may turn down the fight. It's his choice by now, I would presume. Where do you go? Like, do you believe, in my eyes, I believe you have to go up and steal a belt, come back
instead of going down.
Instead of going down, yeah.
It's like a legacy fight to you may not be the legacy fight to him. A legacy may not be as important to Golovkin as it is to you and me. Golovkin is his own man, and Golovkin is going to do what he feels is best for Golovkin. That we want to see the fights as fans, of course. But if it's not, just like with Andre, if it's not on his terms, it's not going to happen.
Is it true though that you?
So your man stays high.
Yeah.
Is it true though that you did, or Tom Loeffler or your team offered Billy Joe Saunders $3 million to fight Kennedy?
I'm not in that department, but that's what I heard and that's what was written. But again, that's Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders and Tyson Fury had a great career going, had a great big payday his next fight, and he gave it up. So I don't know if Billy Joe's going to do the same thing, but he's just talking. It just got postponed again 1 week.
Next
right?
Week. Yeah.
Right. So until they're serious and stop talking on Facebook and stop talking on Twitter and call Tom Loeffler. Call Tom Loeffler and just sign a contract. All this talking is not doing anything but enraging us as fight fans.
Abel, let me ask you something off subject. Manny Pacquiao, he said that Floyd doesn't care about the fans. He does care about the fans, apparently. He just fought Jesse Vargas. Now they're talking about fighting Jeff Horn, someone I personally never had heard of him.
Oh, come on.
What do you think about him making a decision like that with all the welterweights in the welterweight division?
Well, first of all, I don't want to see that fight again. I think that if Floyd comes back, I don't think he should fight Manny. I think that ship has sailed. I think that if Floyd comes back, it probably won't be in May. It'll probably be in September to steal that date like he always does, because he can. And by then, there'll be a couple guys that may be in the running. And maybe the winner, Thurman and Garcia, could be a candidate for it if one guy looks great.
But do you think he'll fight them though? If he's trying to fight Jeff Horn, you think he's going to fight Keith Thurman or?
I sure as hell won't buy a Manny Pacquiao fight again. I think that it happened 5 years too late, and it was a dud when it did happen.
Let me get a question about another prospect in your camp right now that's going for a title next month. Yuri Gassiev. Tell us a little about him and how he's looking.
He fights
against Denis Lebedev.
Yeah, he fights December the 3rd against Denis Lebedev in Russia. It's a great fight. I look at this fight as the kind of fight that I had when Terry Norris fought Ray Leonard back in 1991. It was the older guy that had a lot of tough fights and was a great champion fighting the young stud, 23 years old. Terry was 23 back then. Gassiev's 23 years old. He's a good fighter. I said a year ago that he's the next Golovkin coming out of my gym. I still believe that. I think that Lebedev and Gassiev is going to be a Fight of the Year candidate, a type of fight, because Lebedev doesn't go anywhere. Lebedev is going to be right there. They're going to fight, and hopefully my young stud won't be scared of the situation, because there's going to be 16,000 people there in Moscow, which is Lebedev's hometown, and the older guy uses his experience to beat us. I think that if that doesn't happen, we're going to be treated to, I think, a Fight of the Year kind of candidate.
The division is kind of hot right now. Can you tell us why you think it's not getting kind of the spotlight it needs right now? There's a lot of hot names in there. Alexander Usyk as well.
Yeah, it never has gotten that kind of recognition, because I think that people think it's the guys that can't make light heavyweight and then the guys that don't make it at heavyweight.
Even when Orla Norris was there, it wasn't a big...
And it's not. If you look at the division, Usyk is an exceptional fighter. The other Russian boy that retired, Drost, was an exceptional fighter. Gassiev and Lebedev are going to, if it gives us the kind of fight that I think it's going to give us, it's going to give us a star continuing, or a star is born. But I think it's a division that people should start watching. And the good thing about Gassiev, if there's a plus side, he's 23 years old. He's 6'3", 200 pounds for this one, but he's 6'3". Hopefully he grows another couple inches, and we'll have a guy 6'5" fighting heavyweight in a couple 3 years.
Charlo versus J-Rock. Julian Williams, yeah.
J-Rock.
You got all right.
I think Edwards has done an exceptional job with J-Rock, and I think that he's a kid that just hasn't gotten the fights that he needs, but very good fighter.
Very good fight.
This is more of a comment than a question. On the outside looking in, to me, it looks like y'all are playing us a little bit with the Canelo Triple G. Like, no one wants to commit.
We committed already. No, we'd fight in May. Golovkin's ready to fight him. It's not Golovkin. Golovkin's ready to fight him. It's for this 160-pound title, as he's already moved up. They vacated the 54-pound title. Now it's a matter of not being ridiculous and saying 90-10.
Exactly. Speak on that ridiculous
$10 million
proposal.
Well, the thing is that if they want to make the fight, it has to be something that is beneficial to both parties. Beneficial in a way that Golovkin is satisfied with what he gets, whether it's 10 cents or $10. If Golovkin says that that's okay for him, then that's okay. But you got to do it both ways. Both guys got to be happy with what they're getting. But that's a way, like Eubanks, that's a way of not taking a fight.
Yeah.
It's Danny Jacobs' thing, Yeah, I'll fight him, but I want $100 million.
Yeah, how bad you want to sell that Tahoe, right?
Right. You're right.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, it's a
good analogy.
Yeah,
good analogy.
I heard that interview. Now, playing devil's advocate, one might say Canelo is doing a Floyd Mayweather move. You made $2 million. Your highest payday is $2 million. We'll double it. We'll give you $4 million.
Let me say this in answering that. Who can he fight that he's going to make the kind of money he's going to make with Golovkin?
I'm not. I'm just
nobody
saying.
right
He
now.
sold out 50. He got 51,000. I don't know what the profit share is.
No, but what's the difference? That fight compared to a fight with Golovkin makes how much? Not how many people were there, because it's not. It could be at the Mandalay Bay at 12,000 seats, and they can sell them for $3,000 a seat.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not what Golovkin's making. Is what can he make if he doesn't fight Golovkin?
The question is, what some fans were asking, is Golovkin willing to bend the way you guys want Danny Jacobs to bend when it comes to the split?
No,
Canelo versus Jacobs, and
there is no split in the Canelo Golovkin. There's no mandatory split in the Golovkin Canelo.
That's a good, yeah.
This is a mandatory split. Why should Jacobs be different than than Walters, than anybody that's challenging a champion.
But Canelo has the option to either take the fight or not, which is when you have to.
So does Jacobs.
Uh-huh.
So does Jacobs. But it's a mandatory thing. It's not like we're setting any kind of boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's been called for since the WBA became a WBA.
Are they really asking for 90? Hold on one second. Are they really asking for 90-10?
No.
I mean, can you give me something close to what
that was
they're...
something that Oscar said in an interview.
You said $10 million.
No, the 90-10 split or something like that. It was...
Like, how much money directly are they offering?
I have no idea. What, it all depends on what. Say you were involved and you put a pot together and there's $10. How much of that do you want? It's if it's only going to make X amount of dollars, are you willing to take a pay cut because it only made an X amount of dollars, or profit on the other end too? Golovkin, not only has he sold out arenas, yes, Canelo sold 50,000. How much were the tickets? Then you have to, you can give the tickets away. Like when Chavez fought Hagen.
Yeah, 100,000 people.
How many? There were a peso up at the top. You couldn't see the fight. You can fill up a stadium, but there's a pot, and how much are you satisfied with to make the fight? And you can be, like I said, Danny, and be satisfied with an amount that's impossible to make a fight. It's easy to walk away from it. But Golovkin will fight in March. And then Golovkin will fight in June again. He fights in Kazakhstan. And Golovkin will fight in September. And Golovkin will hopefully fight in December. If it's one of the guys that we mentioned, great. If it's not, we're going to fight. He's 34 years old.
Absolutely. I got to go get my laptop.